Frank, this is so exciting. We have an opportunity to get on and chat with our listeners today. So we're going to make some connections with career in jiu-jitsu and talk about some of the things that we've learned over the last 16 episodes. So take it away, Frank.
Well, definitely, Jason. This is so exciting because when we started, I remember you said most podcasts never get past three or four. You said that. That's like that's when they die. And we said when we get 16 episodes done, we're gonna have a sweet 16 episodes. So raise the roof because this is our sweet 16. Basically, what our listeners are gonna get from this is just some of the really common denominators that all of our guests hit upon. So if you haven't been following us, this is a great episode to start. It's going to get you excited. If you have been following us, this is just a really nice recap for you. And Jason, the whole purpose of this really is to take the lessons from the mats, from the art of BJJ, and apply them to the real world career. So even if somebody doesn't do a BJJ, they're going to get a lot of the benefits as if they did do it, because we're just going
Right.
to hand it to them on a silver platter, right here,
Yeah.
right now.
Right. Yeah, that mutual relationship between a career and jiu-jitsu is why we're doing this, because we see in our gym, and I'm sure that a lot of BJJ practitioners see in their gyms too, the benefits that they get from jiu-jitsu and how they apply them in their career, and also the benefits of jiu-jitsu in their careers. They can apply on the mats too. So we've talked about that a lot in our podcasts, and I think that people that do jiu-jitsu can really understand it, but also people who don't train jiu-jitsu can utilize the concepts of jiu-jitsu for sure, because a lot of jiu-jitsu concepts are very applicable to their life.
Right, 100%. And I think we should start off with the first observation and the most poignant observation that we've made. Every single person who came on our show was 100% grateful that they started BJJ. Even if they were like, I don't know if I want to start, I'll give it a shot. Everyone is 100% grateful that they started. And everyone has stated that it has totally helped them be more professional and more effective in their professions. So I mean, it just gave us the confirmation that what we were trying to hit on is actually the truth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there people have told us that, through the years of them doing jujitsu, whether it's been, or even if they've done jujitsu short term, even like 6 months or something, we have had some people on our episodes that don't have an extensive amount of jujitsu experience. But then we also have some people who have an extensive amount of experience. I think they always, all in all of our episodes, we've had people explain their views or their perspectives on how much jujitsu has helped their work performance and their work productivity too.
Right.
Um, it's
I
great.
mean, I almost feel like every company should sponsor and pay for their employees to go to jujitsu because they will have a
Absolutely.
more productive, a more confident, a more calm, a more focused individual. I just think that that would be for any business people out there, any managers, that's definitely something you might want to consider. So just a promotion to that. Jason, I think we should start out with what surprised us a little bit. We both knew that when we talked to law enforcement experts and corrections officers, we knew that they were going to come in and talk about the physical application of jujitsu to their jobs, right? We were expecting that and how much jujitsu helps them because they have to handle people. But I think what surprised both of us was we had two guests who specifically mentioned one was Nichols, who was talking about as a professional nurse having to physically manage a patient who the security guards were having a hard time with him. And Nichols, who's not as big as a security guard, said, guys, just leave him alone, gently manhandled him down to the floor, calmed him down. And then the other one with Anthony, who was telling us about somebody coming into his search and being a little bit aggressive and threatening. And he obviously didn't want to escalate it. He de escalated it and was able to do an arm drag and then get control and gently help that person out of the church. I think those two stories were just not expected, but very interesting and kind of reminded us that all of us need to be able to handle ourselves if there's a physical threat.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the competency that people achieve through training jujitsu is awesome, and they can apply it, you know, in a fit, like you said, in a physical way with control, you know. So, you know, it's great to hear these stories, and it's great for our listeners to be able to hear the stories of people being able to learn how to utilize their body to their advantage so that they're controlling their own body and also being able to control somebody else's body that they need to isolate if they need to or something, you know, whether it be law enforcement or like you said, nursing. So yeah, those
Agreed.
are the
Agreed.
physical, you know, and then also, Frank, you know, a lot of our episodes too, people talked about how, from a physical standpoint, it's improved their endurance, their flexibility, their strength, their cardio, and even their weight loss. Like people have lost a lot of weight doing jujitsu. I mean, that's an
I
obvious one.
remember when I started, I worked out before I started, but when I started, literally I lost like 12 pounds in a month. And I don't even want to lose weight that fast, but it was just the jujitsu because you're using every muscle in your body. It's a byproduct. It's like you're not trying to lose weight, but you can't not lose weight because what other sport? Well, I'm sure there are other sports. I don't want to be like saying that jujitsu is the be all end all, but jujitsu, you have to use every single muscle in your body, right?
Right.
And that weight loss is definitely one of the advantages with all the other things that you said. And kind of building off that, Jason, there's like a two-sided coin. I'm going to talk about the first side first, but I think you will agree with me that every guest has said jujitsu has helped them build their confidence, increase their confidence in the way they handle themselves in meetings and where they handle themselves in a medical procedure, in the way they handle themselves when somebody's being overly aggressive with them. That level of confidence, and you've seen this because you have many students over many years. I believe every single one of our guests said that.
Yeah, they definitely did. And the composure that they can maintain, you know, that mental, you know, the mental side of things there with being able to control their emotions. I think a lot of our uh, podcast episodes, a lot of our guests talked about being able to control their emotions and then also being able to, you know, control their ability to, maintain their level of you know, adrenaline
Calmness,
rush and,
right,
you know,
right.
calmness and staying composed in an emergency situation. Because a lot of people freeze, you know, when an emergency happens or something, you know, your brain has
Either
to
they
process it.
freeze or they freak out and beast out and quote unquote see red, which usually ends badly for the person seeing red,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
And when
go ahead,
yeah,
you go.
I'm sorry. And when you train jujitsu, you know, like we talked a lot in our episodes about how when you train jujitsu, you're always in that physical, um, you know, the grappling arts. You know, you're always in that circumstance where you're trying to fight for better position and so forth. So you're able to maintain that composure when something happens. So it's great. And I think a competition is really good too. We've had some listeners, I'm sorry, some guests come on and talk about competing as well. And I think competing in jujitsu really builds that too. It really builds that mental fortitude to you know, put not a lot of people fight or get into a fight in their life, you know, and when you can match up with somebody and go 100% with them, and get yourself used to that.
It is like
Yeah.
and I will tell you from my own experience, I'm not a nervous person in general. I'm not super confident, but I'm not somebody who gets that nervous in that many situations. And it was just a competition. And I'm an old man. Nobody has any expectations of me, but my heart was pounding when it was like a fight. It literally was like a fight. So I like, Jason, that you use the word composure. And I think that's almost a better word. I mean, confidence goes along with it, but that sense of being composed when things are coming at you, that's priceless. If you could be more composed under stress, that helps you in every aspect of your life. So, great vocab word there, composure. Yeah, keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Now,
Absolutely.
the other side of that coin, which is interesting because sometimes confidence comes with cockiness. arrogance, but every single guest has mentioned Jiu-Jitsu makes you humble. There is no room for ego in Jiu-Jitsu, and nobody can maintain a high ego in an inflated ego in Jiu-Jitsu because Jiu-Jitsu will beat that out of you. And
Yes.
so I love the coin that Jiu-Jitsu really casts, that it mints this coin with one side being you really are confident, you really are composed, you really are calm, and the other side, you are also super humble when you're in Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a character trait, right? Humbleness, you know, and I think a lot of jujitsu practitioners get a lot of development in their character, you know, courage and perseverance and discipline, uh, adaptability. You know, there's a lot of different character words that we could talk about that are great things that you get from jujitsu that you can apply to your workplace. Because character is really important. Your mental fortitude and your ability to be able to um, keep that strength, that mental strength, mental and physical strength in your workplace is important. So the intellectual part too, Frank. So a lot of our listeners talked about problem solving. I'm sorry, I keep saying listeners, but our guests, right, have
Yes,
talked a lot about being analytical and being able to like problem solve things, which I think is another awesome connection between jujitsu and one's workplace because we problem solve in jujitsu obviously all the time. When you're in a position, you have to really think about what grips you need and what position you need to try to get to. And it's in real time too, right? Your problem solving is in jujitsu is like in real time. So
it is.
it actually
It's
helps
in.
you. Go ahead.
I just. Sorry, I lost you a little bit there, but you are 100% correct. It's problem solving in real time, and then it's problem solving in reflection. Because the beauty of jujitsu is when you're done, usually, like when I have a lot of problems, it's because the person's usually better. And then I say, well, how did you get me trapped in that? And they're like, well, you didn't let go of my wrist at that point, or you didn't you put no frame up, or you didn't do this. So it's both problem solving in action and it's problem solving in reflection. And you will recall a lot of people have used the word mapping. You have a map where you need to go, and you have to go to station one before station two, before station three, before station four. Many people have compared it to chess, thinking one move ahead, two moves ahead, three moves ahead. And I've heard not all, but many refer to it like you're managing a project. It's almost like project management. So all those things just speak to your point that you just made about it being a thinking person's intellectual kind of art.
Yeah, understanding like the system and the process, like, every job role has some form of process. You do this before you do that, and I think jujitsu really helps people to understand the process in their career. And also people have careers where they utilize their systems and their processes as well, and they can apply those to the mats. So that's a really good observation, that connection
Yeah,
there.
it goes both ways, and you probably have also remembered that a lot of people said there's a protocol for success, and I've learned in my job and in jiu-jitsu you don't skip the protocol. Just like you say, well, to us, like if you're going to climb up, first control the feet, then maybe grab the legs, hold them together, climb up. Now you have to control the hips. Make sure you're controlling the hips. Now you can slice your knee over. Now make sure you control one of their arms. Make sure you get the underhook. Now get your crossface. That's a protocol. And a lot of us get excited when we think we're passing and we skip the protocol because we want the bang, like right now. And
Yeah,
in every career, that's a dangerous thing. We talked about Corey with his electricity. You can't skip protocol when
right.
you're dealing with an electrical outage and there's live wires. There's a protocol for a reason, and I think we got a lot of um, our guests saying that and pointing to that
Yeah.
system of.
Mhm.
And I just have to throw this in there because some of my students are probably listening. You said it's an intellectual art. Great vocabulary word. Noetics. It's noetic. Noetic is
Oh,
a word for intellectual. Cool word. Cool word for you.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. But that's good. We got to get those good vocab words in there for everybody.
Yes.
Adapt. What about adaptability, Frank? You know, a lot of our guests have talked about being adaptable. So, you know, when they are in those situations where they have to problem solve, they have to start making decisions, they have to be adaptable. And in jujitsu, you also have to be adaptable. So that has really been a connection that we've made too.
Yes, and I also think adaptable not only in your role or your wrestle, but in your whole approach to it. Some people are older, so they're not going to do the cartwheel pass. Some people are younger and fast, so they're not going to use as much heavy smashing technique, but they're going to use their speed. And you really have to adapt the art to what you have to work with. And the beauty is just like in life and just like in your career, you may not be able to do math quick in your head, but you might be very eloquent when you speak, right? Or
Hmm.
you might not be able to use computer spreadsheets that well, but you might be very good at laying out and mapping out the general strategy, and you just need help with the tactical. This is in business and life. This adaptability that you talk about is much more than just being adaptable in a role. It's being in your entire approach of how you think about your art and knowing what you have and how to maximize it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brandon, our episode
I
with
was thinking
Brandon.
this. All right, this is
Yeah,
creepy. I was
it
thinking
just
the
that
same
popped.
thing. I was like,
That
yes,
Yeah, that popped in my head when he was talking about strengths, right? Like strengths and
yes.
weaknesses and how
For
important it
that,
is to talk about to work on both, you know? Some people focus on one more than the other too much, you know? And I think it's important to work on strengths and weaknesses, you know?
right. And we actually, the point of that he said was 80-20, the Pareto principle. 80% on your strengths. If you're not a big person, don't, yeah, learn some big person moves. But if you're a smaller person, learn the things that work better for a small 80-20, right?
Right.
Play with the
And
big
he
moves, but 80,
Right.
yeah,
And he talked about that be how he works on that with his coworkers, you know, his subordinates. He talks to them a lot about being able to use those strengths to their advantages, to their advantage too, you know?
yeah, that was definitely a golden nugget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So how
so
about this? I'm sorry, Frank.
no, you go, you go.
You might have been getting
There's
into this anyways, but
probably
if you don't, if
we're
you
on the
don't
same
mind me,
wavelength, you know.
probably, you were probably going to get to like the concept of teamwork and collaboration, maybe.
Yes, Jason, you must be a magician. That's exactly what's in my note. Teamwork. So, a couple of things. I mean, that was a thread that I think everybody shared in their interviews with us. And one of the things is you, as our team leader, worked very hard to establish that culture of look, we're not only here for our own personal development, we're here for our training partner, and we're here as a group, as a family. You really built that culture. And I'm sure that a lot of other listeners who go to their gyms feel the same way. It's a family. And it reminds me of a great business book for any business people out there. It's Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. It's a great book on how nobody does it alone and you're only as good as your team. And he talks about a thing called social capital, which is what you build with the people that you work with, a relationship of trust, a relationship of mutual respect, of mutual admiration. And Jiu-jitsu really solidifies that because if you think about it, you're trusting your entire life in somebody else's hands, right? And at
Yeah.
least the limbs hanging off your body, right, are in
Yeah.
somebody else's hands. And that's a great amount of trust. And when you build that camaraderie and you learn those fundamentals, you take that to the workplace and you build those same relationships. I think it's such a nice parallel.
Yeah, absolutely. Having building that community and culture in your profession, and also building that community and culture in your academy, your jiu-jitsu academy, both areas are really important. So yeah, it's great, Frank. It's there's just so many different things that we could be talking all day about all of these amazing benefits
There's too
that we
many. There's
get.
really too many common threads, like just nuggets that we've distilled through the process. But Jason, I don't want to forget about one that you taught me early on in my career. And it was nice to hear it echoed by almost every guest on our show. It was that jujitsu is hard, just like our careers are difficult, right? but you only have to concentrate on getting that 1% better every day. Just show up and get 1% every day. And I like the way you couch that in the context of your 1% is your 1%. You're not comparing your journey with somebody else, right?
Right.
This is your journey. This is your incline. And this is not a competition. You only compete with yourself. And you taught me to think, am I better than when I walked in the door? And that's the only thing that matters. And I think it's the same thing with a career. That's somebody else's business what they're doing. You need to focus on your projects, on your line of business, on your relationships. And the only question you need to ask yourself when you leave work is, did I get 1% better? Am I forging better relationships? Am I being a good leader? Am I being a good teammate? And I think that is absolutely, I wouldn't even call it a golden nugget. I'd call it a diamond that you and jujitsu have taught me.
Yeah, that's awesome that you got that out of it because I think this whole podcast is really about people connecting, people like you and like me, that really connect the art of jujitsu to their life. And, you're an example of that. So we appreciate you, Frank, and the listeners appreciate you. And we appreciate our listeners too, don't we?
100%. I mean, I just want to say, wrapping up this season one, we finished the whole season, and it's all honestly, we just started this up thinking it would be a fun thing to do. There's a gap in the market, but our listeners and the constant comments we get back from our listeners is the fuel for our fire. And to our listeners, thank you because you invest the most important thing that you have in our podcast, which is time. Even if you're in your car, you have a million other things you could listen to. If you're at home, you have a million other things you could be doing. We so appreciate our listeners. We love to look on the little app that shows us where they're coming from. They're all over the world, right, Jason? We've got
Yeah,
Spain,
20, I
we've
think it
got
was 29
Singapore.
countries,
How many?
29 countries now.
Oh, we're global. We're global. So, to our listeners, we love you. We appreciate you. Please keep tuning in. And if you want to help us, there are two ways to help us. Comment about us, give us good ratings, but really, if you can share the love, it's the pebble in the pond, right? Share the wisdom with people who do jujitsu, who might do jujitsu, and people who don't do jujitsu. Everybody can learn from these pieces of wisdom that we've garnered from all the people we've talked to, right?
Yes, absolutely. Share, and listen. Even though, what we want to do is create some engagement too with people. We want our listeners, if you are listening to this right now, we want our listeners to comment on our podcasts because we want to get more people interacting so that we can have a chance to really spread the messages that we're giving in each of our
Two-way
episodes.
interaction. Speaking of that, Jason, we have a little glitch in this video and we want to see if anybody caught it. So if you caught our glitch, it's a very goofy glitch. We will we will shout you out and you'll become famous. Of course, if you're on the podcast, you're
Right.
basically a viral phenomenon, right?
You're right.
So see
Absolutely.
if you caught the glitch. It's an obvious, I think kind of egregious glitch, but see if you caught it. Let us know and we'll give you a shout out. Once again, thank you to our listeners. We love you. And we look forward to our next podcast. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.